What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. I am your host, Trevor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're going to be talking about Warriors today, and going forward, you're going to hear a lot more podcasts going on with the Warriors because the season is just about ready to start. Last night, the Warriors played their final preseason game against the Lakers and won the game 132-74. A little bit about the stats. Draymond Green, Kuminga, Trace Jackson-Davis, Wiggins, and Melton were all starters in this particular game. That does not mean that they're starters going forward, obviously. Curry was out with a sprained finger. I think he's out just as a precaution. I would not think for 1 second that Curry is not going to start the season with the season opener. So nothing too much to worry about. I think it's more of a precaution. So he was out of the starting lineup. But let's just go over some of the points. Draymond Green scored 2 points, but his defense is really the emphasis, and his ball handling skills, his passing skills. So that is to be expected. I would expect him to have more points in a regular season, but this is just ramping up, right? The players we want to look out for are some of the younger guys like Kuminga, who scored 17 points, which is exactly what we want to see. We want to see 17 to 25 points a game from him, and that would be taking a step forward. And we need to see Kuminga take a step forward this year if he wants a long-term contract and he wants to play basketball on this team. Because as we know, Curry has still got a lot left in the tank, but we need to start seeing the team around him getting built. Last year was very frustrating, especially with Draymond Green getting suspended for so long and the Warriors missing the playoffs by like that much. I think they were out by like 4 or 5 games. And if he had not been suspended, I truly believe they're in the playoffs and not just the play-in game. And as we know, the Warriors traditionally are not very good when it comes to the play-in games because they have to figure it out all in one game. And the Warriors are very good about figuring teams out in a series, but not in a singular game. So, I digress. Green had 2 points, but he was very serviceable as far as getting other players involved. Kuminga got 17 points. Trace Jackson-Davis, who I am high on, I think he is going to be an all-star, if not this year, very soon. Last year was his rookie year, and he played out of his mind for a rookie. I think the playoffs kind of got to him a little bit, maybe in that play-in game, but overall, he is taking massive steps forward to become a professional all-star in this league and for the Warriors. So he gets 12 points. That's good. Wiggins gets 13, and we are all still wondering, is Wiggins going to be the guy from 3 years ago, or is he going to be the guy from the last 2 years where he's kind of dropped off and showed disinterest? As we know, since the beginning, Wiggins was pegged to be a superstar in this league, but never really took those steps forward for whatever reason. He showed flashes of greatness, but not all at once. When the Warriors won the championship a few years back, he had one of the best years of his career, and that is what we want to see from him on a regular basis. We haven't since then, but he's had some family issues and some other things that have been going on, so I'm excited to see Wiggins trying to get back in the fold this year and really make an impact. It's going to make a difference between a team that's going for a championship or not with the way Wiggins plays this year and the way Kuminga plays. We all know Curry is going to go off and score his points. We all know Draymond Green is, and those two guys, as much as Kerr says the lineup is up for grabs this year, we all know Draymond Green and Curry are starting no matter what. It's really about the 3 other spots in that starting lineup, and they have a deep roster, guys. I mean, their bench is going to be very good. They still have Kevon Looney, Waters, Santos, Anderson, Post. I'm going to talk about Quentin Post in a little bit because Quentin Post is a rookie who's 7 feet tall, very aggressive. He's very strong on the paint. He can shoot from three-point land if you need him to. This guy is maybe going to have an impact this year, definitely going forward. I hope to see him have a bigger impact this year, but he's a rookie, so we can't expect a whole lot. But I do think we're going to see big things from him. Going down the line, we signed Buddy Hield in the offseason, right? So everybody knows Klay Thompson is gone. He went to the Mavericks, and now we have the guy that's coming in to take his place, Buddy Hield. Good thing about Buddy Hield is that he has one of the highest three-point percentages in the league. The downside, if there is one, is he doesn't have as much playing time under his belt on a regular basis as he's going to have coming into this Warrior team, because I do believe he's going to take one of the starting spots. He's too good of a shooter not to have him next to Curry and have that threat out there. But he's vying for the number 2 spot with Pajemski. So let's see who gets that. And again, there's another guy who is just could be a starter and has all-star potential. Pajemski came in and played out of his mind as well next to Curry last year. He's trying to build off that. He is a strong offensive player, some defensive upside, but for the most part, we saw Pajemski looking like a baby Curry in some ways last year. He wasn't hitting as many three-pointers, obviously, nobody does, but Pajemski's got massive upside, and I know in the offseason there was a lot of things the Warriors are trying to do to make moves to make this roster better, and Pajemski might have been one of those people that were untradeable, just like Kuminga. Those two guys are going to have to show up this year and actually play meaningful basketball if they want to stay on this team long term. I think Pajemski is a little bit more safe than Kuminga just because the value of Kuminga is a little higher. So if Kuminga doesn't show up in the first half of this season, look for the Warriors to make a big move because they're looking for that other all-star to play next to Curry. And, they're going to be looking for people who are selling at the trade deadline, especially if the Warriors are in it. And I definitely think that they will be. Don't forget we have Gary Payton II, who is amazing on defense. We have Moody, who's going to need to take another step this year, and I think he will. By the way, I think all these players are going to take another step forward this year and really bring this team into the light as a contender for not only being in the playoffs, but a championship. I really believe that because when you have Curry, anything's possible. Nobody thought that they were going to win a few years ago, but Curry took them on his back and took that to a championship, and I think he's going to do it again at least once in his career before it's all over, hopefully a couple times, because I think Curry really needs to get the respect that he deserves. I think the Olympics helped with that when he showed everybody on a national stage just what he's all about. So I think this year's going to be a little bit different with the respect, and I think going forward when he retires, it will definitely come out that he and people like LeBron James, let's just say it, Curry and LeBron James are the two guys fighting for who's the best today. And today, it's definitely Curry because LeBron James has dropped off. I believe that. And, by the way, LeBron James has a lot of load management going on. Curry doesn't have nearly as much. So if you're asking me today who's better, it's definitely Curry. In the career, you could say it's a toss-up, but Curry changed the game. And I can't say the same thing for LeBron James. So Curry has his place in history without a doubt. But getting another ring or two definitely doesn't hurt the conversation of who's the best of our time right now after Kobe Bryant retired. So anyway, I digress. Moody's got to step up. I think he will. Then we have Pajemski we talked about and Curry. Those are like the main players that are going to fill out this roster, and you got 5 starters, and then the rest of these guys are going to be coming off the bench. I mean, even if you have Buddy Hield coming off the bench and Pajemski starts, I don't think that's going to be the way because I think Kerr is looking at Pajemski as a backup to Curry maybe as far as like a point guard goes and shooter and ball facilitator. So I think it makes more sense to have Hield on the starting lineup, have Pajemski coming off the bench with Looney probably coming off the bench now, right? And then you can kind of mix up the rest of the roster. Trace Jackson-Davis might come off the bench or Looney might come off the bench. One of those two. Either way, you have a strong bench. Gary Payton II will come off the bench, so you got Payton, Moody, Looney, maybe Trace Jackson-Davis. You'll get Post in there a little bit, and you're going to get Santos playing a little bit, and those guys just coming off the bench are going to be a shot in the arm. It's not going to be a drop-off when the starters come out too much, and I think a lot of teams are going to have a lot of problems dealing with the Warriors, not only their starting lineup, but definitely when their bench comes in. It's going to be hard to keep up with the Warriors this year, and the Warriors are putting a big emphasis on defense. It's been said in the training camp. Kerr stated this much. The defense has got to be much, much better than last year, and so far, from what I've heard in training camp, it is. They're doing really, really good on defense now. They've got some people in there to help coach with the defense, help Kerr with it, and it's working out really great. And I think that we're going to see a very, very strong defensive team out of the Warriors this year. And I do think that we're looking at a playoff team that could vie for a championship depending on how they gel throughout the year. I'm very excited about the Warriors this year, though. I mean, even Moody, who came off the bench, scored 14, and Hield scored 14, and Pajemski scored 16. These are all numbers that some starters will get, right? So your bench is putting up those numbers. Yes, it's preseason, but these guys have played together for a little while now, and now I'm starting to see them gel. So it's an exciting time to be a Warrior fan right now because I think we're on the uptick and we're going to start seeing some really good all-star play out of some of these guys, and we might see a team that's on the verge of rejuvenating itself in a way. So this is great news. Quentin Post getting that guy in the draft where they did, I think they actually traded 2 picks down just to make sure they got him. He's a 7-footer, and we know that the Warriors need a big man that can shoot, that can play defense, that is aggressive. He's all these things. He checks all the boxes, and the only problem is he's still a rookie. But if he comes out and plays like all-star player value, maybe he'll get some more playing time. I don't know. Trace Jackson Davis earned his playing time last year with the way he played, and he was a rookie. So I'm hoping Quentin Post can follow in those footsteps and do the same thing, because now with Trace Jackson Davis, Quentin Post, and we still have Looney, who is very experienced at the center position, very, very strong at the center position, I believe. And I think that's going to open up not only the shooting for Curry, but I do believe we're going to score more points in the paint that way. And I think it's just going to balance out the offense in general. And the fact that he can move around and shoot 3-point shots means that he can play in Steve Kerr's offense. And what Steve Kerr's offense hasn't been doing for the last couple of years, and not to his blame, it's just the players can't get it, is that they are constantly moving the ball around. They were older, and I have to say, I love Klay Thompson. I wish he would have stayed with the Warriors and retired there, but he slowed down. His defense suffered. His speed suffered. He couldn't keep up with other players younger. So I think getting Buddy Hield, they got younger, and at the same time got a little bit faster, and they didn't drop off in the 3-point percentage shooting too much. He actually had a better 3-point percentage last year than Klay Thompson did. The only thing I'm wondering is can Buddy Hield be a starter and play more minutes than he's used to playing, aside from Curry? You know, if he's side by side with Curry and he can keep up, this is going to be an amazing year, because I really think Buddy Hield has a potential of taking another step in his career as well. He's a veteran. He's seasoned. He can play. He's smart. He can hit the 3-pointer like pretty much anybody else in the league, including Curry. So let's see what happens with this. It's a very exciting time to be a Warrior fan. Just looking at everything that's going on in the preseason and knowing these players. Now, I don't ever miss a Warrior game, hardly ever. In the last 2 years, I've maybe missed one game that was televised, 1 or 2 games, because I didn't have that particular streaming service, and I don't want to get into that. But basically, the NBA is all over different streaming services, and it makes it impossible to catch every game unless you're paying for like 3 different streaming services. So sometimes that's what I do. But either way, guys, this is going to be a great year. It's really great news that Kerr says that the roster is up for grabs. That means there's so much talent going into this team this year that he can't place who's going to be on the team and who's going to be playing in Santa Cruz until we bring them up if we need to. That's a good problem to have, and I think other teams around the league should be fearing the Warriors right now, and I think LeBron James should have a healthy fear of Steph Curry, because Steph Curry's got a team that is serviceable now. Last year, it wasn't so much like that. I think we're going to see a lot of games with a lot of fun. I think the whole league should look out, because the Warriors are going to be one of, if you want to call them a dark horse, that is going to shock a lot of the league and how good they actually are going to be. Are they ready to battle a team like the Celtics? Are they ready to battle a team like the Lakers? Absolutely, because I still don't think the Lakers are very good, aside from LeBron James trying to carry them, and he's getting to the age where he just can't carry them on his own. So I really don't see that. But there's other teams coming up in the league. The Knicks are looking really great. They're just going to keep taking steps forward. So that's a team to look out for. Obviously, the Mavericks with getting Klay Thompson, maybe a team that could be a threat, but I don't trust them to get it done. And then you always have the Denver Nuggets, who won the championship 2 years ago, but are still intact and still a great team. You got Phoenix out there that are very good, but I think the Warriors can play with any of them. I think they were pretty close to playing with them last year, and I think this year with a better team, it's really going to challenge some of those teams to step up and try and beat this Warrior team. So it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be fun to watch them, to track them, to do the podcast about them. I hope you all just continue to follow me and continue to watch my podcast. You know I love sports, and you know that I just give you the facts the way I see them, and most of the time it just cuts through all the bullshit and you get exactly what you should get, which is common sense thinking about what sports teams are thinking about doing, what they're not thinking about doing, what's happening with the players, what they're reporting, what they're not. And we can just go forward and see it. We can see with our eyes and our minds and our hearts what's going on with that team, not what we want to see, not what we want to happen, but what's actually happening, right? So that's what I want to bring to the table. I've got quite a few podcasts under my belt so far, guys. So I've been doing this, and I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers. So I'll let you know when I do. That'll be a great milestone to reach. And I want to say again, I appreciate all you guys for supporting me. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you haven't hit the like while you're watching this video, please hit the like, because I love doing this and I hope you love watching me. And this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So again, a couple of players that have to really step up before the trade deadline, in my mind, Kuminga and Moody, because they're the more valuable players on the roster right now, along with Podziemski. But again, I don't think Podziemski's tradable yet, just because I think he's got more time to progress and become something. Moody and Kuminga have been on the team for a few years, and this is a breakout year for those guys. If they do not break out, if they do not start showing that they can be leaders on this team, specifically Kuminga, that's trade bait halfway through the season. And there are a lot of teams that are not going to be winning, that are going to be trading all-star players, top-tier players that we could make a move for, give Kuminga away in a trade pick, in a draft pick, or whatever it takes to get somebody in there to play with Curry that can get them closer to that championship. So a lot of stress on Kuminga, a lot of stress on Moody, but that's where they're at right now in their career. They need to show that they can step up. This Warrior team has no time for messing around at this point, but they all look good, and I think they all are going to step up, and I think they are going to make this team look amazing, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of moves at the trade deadline, because I think this Warrior team is going to be one of the top teams in the league. So I'm very, very excited about that. Let's see where it goes. Trayce Jackson-Davis, I'm not even going to talk too much about him right now. I can just tell you one thing. He plays like a veteran who's been in the league for a number of years. It's only his second year. Last year, he was showing that. He went through 4 years of college at Indiana, and that is an amazing program to go through when you're playing basketball. Indiana is one of the top tier ones. They turn out pro players that come out right when they're rookie year and start like making an impact right away. And that's exactly what Trayce Jackson-Davis has done. I'm still thinking, I mean, he doesn't have the height as much, but he has the athletic ability. He has the smarts. He scores. It's showing in the box scores. He scored 12 last night. Again, it's just preseason, but I do think you're going to see Trayce Jackson-Davis be very impactful for this Warriors team. So I think him and Podziemski are kind of no doubters, and again, it's Moody and Kuminga that are going to have to step up and show that they can actually lead this team, especially Kuminga. If Moody kind of steps up and he can average 12 to 15, even maybe 20 points a game, that's pushing it. If he can do that, then I don't think he's going anywhere. Kuminga's got to step it up and average 20, 25 points a game and start looking like somebody who is going to be the future of the Warriors if they're going to pay him, because this is a contract year and he wants a lot of money. And honestly, he doesn't deserve it yet. He has to earn it. He has to earn it. Let's see what happens. But hey, thanks for following me, everybody. Remember, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's watch these Warriors and follow them through this great season that I think we're about to have. And I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, tune in tomorrow for the post-game Niners versus Chiefs analysis, and we'll talk about how that game goes. Remember, if they lose, it's not the end of the world, because it is the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and they're awesome. But I do think that the Niners are taking a step forward. and becoming a little bit more like the team we saw last year. I do think there's a move to be made on the defensive line. Let's follow that too, because they need to get some defensive help. It's still, the trade deadline still hasn't hit yet, so let's see what they do. I fully expect a move to be made, to be honest. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow after the game. And remember, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. So I'll keep working hard for you, and you keep watching. See you in the next one.